I know this is a long game, but it's very much worth sticking around for. It's from a draft battle tournament that a bunch of people had, and I was in. Basically, when we say draft battle, we literally mean we had a Pokemon draft in a Skype call where everybody got to pick like 3 OU, 3 UU, and 3 NU, and the format was 2-2-2 mixed tier, so everybody has 3 guys on the bench in each battle. You could swap them out at any time, and basically it's you get to see the other guy's pool of 9 guys that they get to pick 6 from. They get to see your pool of 9 guys, and it's pretty much just building teams to counter the other guy's 6 that you think they're going to use against you. This was my first round match against Andrew, my first match against Andrew, and let's see how things go. So I've got Tentacruel in my lead spot, and he's got Nidoqueen, so we can both very seriously harm each other, and we both also want to set some stuff up. So this Tentacruel actually doesn't have T-Spikes, and setting up T-Spikes against the guy with the poison type is kind of stupid regardless, so I just decided to hit him with Surf, see how much I can do, and it looks like a solid 2-hit KO. However, I know he potentially has Vaporeon, which he actually winds up going to, so I'm going to try and knock off its lefties, and it actually lands, get a crit knockoff, which it's fine, it means a crit that I don't get later, so I'm going to land a Toxic on it next turn, which I thought, yes, that's amazing, because getting a Toxic on Vaporeon is just incredible. And now this turn I'm going to Rapid Spin, because I'm not expecting him to stick around with no lefties and poisoned. And he's got a Wish in the air, so I don't really want to hit anything if it's just going to get all the HP back. So I get rid of his rocks, and I've seen half of his team already, so I'm definitely in the driver's seat at the moment. I'm pretty sure this thing will want to, like, I don't know, Earthquake. I know it can Earthquake, it could also, like, T-Punch maybe. So I went to Quagsire to try and dodge that, but he goes for Sunny Day, which kind of confused me a little bit. In comes Moltres, which, you know, kind of opens the door and goes like, hey, he's probably got, you know, it's probably why he set it up. So I'm thinking he's got a kind of pseudo-Sun team, which is definitely good information to have now. And I know he's probably going to Solar Beam or go for a Fire move, so I go to Altaria, who resists both of those, and at the end of the turn, because of Life Orb, he takes more damage from his Solar Beam than I do, so that's pretty great, and he takes a Snooze, so I get that thing done, and I'm definitely off to a stupendous start. I don't know where he's going to go next, so I'm just going to switch out into Dragonite, and in comes Vaporeon again, so I would love, love, love to Draco Meteor here, but this Dragonite is max HP, max special attack, specs, and it's not going to be able to take an Ice Beam if he packs it, which I'm not sure if he does yet, so I've got to switch out to Quagsire, who could take an Ice Beam, and then, or it could probably take a couple of Ice Beams, to be fair. He does set up that Wish, and then he goes for Heal Bell, so that Toxic is completely nullified. I'm not going to be able to yawn anything until this thing is dead, so that really, really stinks. At least it doesn't have lefties, but I would really love to, you know, have my statuses stick rather than have to deal with freaking Heal Bell. But at least that tells me he doesn't have Ice Beam, or very likely he's very unlikely to have Ice Beam. So he goes into Nidoqueen, and I go into Dragonite. So now I've got to worry about this thing having Ice Beam. Pretty sure Specs Draco Meteor would kill it, and I'd probably be faster, which I turn out to be. So that's going to be a dead Nidoqueen, because I don't. But it also kind of tells him that I'm a Specs, because I don't think that a non-Specs one would have killed it from there, depending on its set, I guess. But it stinks. It stinks. Definitely stinks that my super secret Specs Dragonite is kind of revealed. So in comes a Heatran, so I'm going to go to Tentacruel, even though he could potentially have Earth Power. I'm just not sure what kind of set this is. Like, Heatran is just so versatile, so I've got to get rid of it. He sets up a sub, and he goes for Torment. So it's a Torment train. I've just got to figure out what his last move is, if it's Taunt, if it's Lava Plume, but more often than not, they run Lava Plume, so I'm just going to go with that at the moment. I Surf Away sub, but I'm Tormented, so I can't really deal with it. However, I have one of the very few Pokemon that can kill a Tormentran in Quagsire, because it has 2 stab super effective moves that can hit it, so there's not really a whole lot that the Heatran can do in that case. I'm just going to go to Azumarill first, make him still just trying to see if he's got Lava Plume or Taunt at the moment, but he's obviously not going to taunt an Azumarill unless he thinks it has sub, but that's not really the case. So now I'm going to go, I thought that the switch to Quagsire was a little bit too obvious, which he actually did predict, so I'm going to predict that switch by going to Dragonite. And it's Tangrowth, so I would have loved to just Draco Meteor it there, but I figured he'd be faster and go for Sleep Powder because my guy is super slow. Which he did. He went for Sleep Powder, which would have hit my Altaria, but you know, with Natural Cure, it's not going to be a big deal. So I go to Dragonite, get slept, and now I've got to decide where is he going to go. I wasn't too sure, so I decided, you know what, I'll just go to Charizard, try and set up a dance, maybe get a little mini sweep going. But he goes to Hitmonchan, and in the original game, he got a crit close combat here, and then Mach Punch finished me off next turn. Because we had to replay it so many times, and the time we got to work, he didn't get a crit, so I'm just going to have to set up Dragon Dances until he kills me, because we're trying to recreate the conditions of the original game, and in the original game he killed me, so it really sucks. It really sucks that I have to let a +3, +2 Charizard die because of a crit that happened 3 DCs ago, but that's just the way it goes. That's the way it went. That's how it goes. He doesn't even finish me off after 2 close combats and a Mach Punch this time, so he gets a couple min damages here, which really just dragged out the pain for me. But as my Charizard dies, I'm going to go into Azumarill. I'm just going to Waterfall. I could have went for Focus Punch. I could have went for Ice Punch, expecting Tangrowth, but I completely forgot Vaporeon existed and forgot it had Water Absorb, so that was stupid. And now I know he's going to go to Tangrowth, so I would love to go to Dragonite, get a nice move off on it, but I can't. I go to Tentacruel. And in the original game, I missed the Toxic here, so we decided I'm just going to use my least damaging move on him, which is Rapid Spin. And he hits me with Earthquake, takes me down, and that really stinks. So a couple of bad luck plays cost me essentially half of a Tentacruel and my entire Charizard, which was set up. So that stinks. And now I get to switch to my Altaria, which can totally perfectly handle this thing, as he Earthquakes under me, no big deal. And in comes the Heatran. So I'm still trying to decide, does it have Taunt? Does it have Lava Plume? I still haven't seen it, I don't think. And the fact that he's not used Protect yet is very, very confusing to me, because that's kind of the point of Tormentrain. Use Sub and Protect like in tandem to stall stuff out, find out movesets, and stuff like that. So he's going to hit me with Lava Plume, so that tells me he definitely has Lava Plume, but I still haven't seen Protect, so I don't know what his 4th move. I don't know his entire moveset. I'm still trying to figure it out. Lava Plume, I don't want that to hit anything, really. Like, it could hit my Dragonite, that would be okay, but I do have Heal Bell, but I just don't want anything getting burned particularly, especially my what do you call it? My Quagsire. I'm going to go into Quagsire eventually, as soon as I break his sub, so I can get in without having to take a Lava Plume. But at that point, he also might switch to Tangrowth, so it's just kind of really a big toss-up of what's going to happen and who's going to make the first slip-up. So he does get a burn on my Altaria, but I've got Natural Cure, I've got Heal Bell, I can deal with it on her, but it's not huge of a deal. So I'm still just trying to find out, does he have, like, what's his last move? I can't figure out why he's not protecting, because he should be protecting at least more often than he is. However, now I'm going to go to Dragonite, because I'm figuring, you know what, let's just let the cat out of the bag, let's go for a Draco Meteor, let's kill something. Let's at least break his sub, and then because I'm Specs, I figure I can break 2 subs and then go to Quagsire. His Heatran is faster than mine, so that tells me it's got a lot of speed, not a lot of defense. He gets a crit Lava Plume there as my Draco Meteor misses. One or the other, I'm fine, but you know, in the original game I didn't miss, so he's gonna sub, be a good sport, and you know, make up for the bad luck I just got right there. So I break his sub, and you know, we're essentially where we were, because he would have Lava Plumed me there again. It's no big deal. I'm just at a little bit lower hit points than I would have been. He subs again as I Draco Meteor again. And I honestly thought this would break the sub, because it's a Heatran with lots of speed investment. Obviously lots of HP, but also lots of speed, and I'm Specs. So I figured I'm going to be able to break this up. I don't. So that really kind of throws a wrench in my plans. And I'm just going to have to go to Quagsire early, take a hit, risk getting burned, which doesn't happen, I don't believe. So got lucky there a little bit, and now it's time. Like, I don't care if he's got Torment, I don't care if he's got Taunt. I'm going to be able to kill this thing eventually. I'm going to be able to, you know, take the Torment, I'm going to Waterfall, and then I can EQ. However, I don't really want to EQ, because he's got a Moltres, I know he's got, and he's got Tangrowth, which can take that just fine. So I know he's not going to stick around for an EQ. So I'm going to go for Yawn, because that's pro. He could have substituted, but then it's just, I take an extra Lava Plume, which is resisted, and it's no big deal, so I don't really care about that. I couldn't Waterfall again, so I couldn't hit the Moltres as it came in, which kind of unfortunate, but whatever. I got a Yawn on it, and I know I can take an Air Slash. Sun is not up, so he can't Solar Beam. I know he doesn't have HP Grass if he's got Solar Beam, so I'm going to take Air Slash. Does a lot more than I expected, honestly, but I took it more than well enough because of my max HP investment, and I got a nice chunk of damage off on it with Waterfall since I was allowed to use it again. He does snooze again, but, you know, he's got Vaporeon, so it's not even a big deal. And I'm just going to recover here because I've got to recover some HP. If this thing's going to be able to take on Hitmonchan, it needs to be at a little bit more HP. In comes Vaporeon again, and I know that thing's probably going to pass a wish to Moltres or Tangrowth or Heatran even. So I got to go to something that can deal with that. So I go to Dragonite. I figure 2 T-Bolts should be able to kill this Vaporeon. If he wants to pass it somewhere, a T-Bolt's probably going to kill... it probably wouldn't kill anything, but he's probably expecting Draco Meteor, to be honest, at that point in time. But I knew 2 T-Bolts would hit this Vaporeon harder than 2 Draco Meteors, so that's what I went with. He decides just to stay in, go for Heal Bell. You know, that makes sense, because he doesn't know what move I'm going to lock myself into. And his Wish takes him almost back up to full. So, Protecting, honestly, he has no purpose to, since I knocked off his lefties, which turned out to be huge. And I'm just going to stay in here and continue to T-Bolt. I don't know if I'm going to be faster than this Hitmonchan. I know Hitmonchan has very good special defense, so it's going to be able to take a couple T-Bolts, and I turn out to be faster, so that tells me he's definitely a more defensive set. Obviously, if he's running Sunny Day, he's got Heat Rock at this point, and I'm actually surprised that I was faster, because I have no speed investments. That tells me he has literally none, so that works out well. He does get a Mach Punch off, which resisted, and I'm a Dragonite, so I'm not going to take very much from that, and finish it off with T-Bolt. Great. So, because he set up the Sun, I'm pretty sure he's going to go into either Moltres or Tangrowth, but I just really can't do a whole lot about it. He decides Moltres is the better option, which I disagree with here. I'm pretty sure, because I'm Dragonite, because I'm max HP, I should be able to take a Sun-boosted Flamethrower, which I actually did. I lived at 15 fairly convincingly, so it's not like it was even close. And even in the original game, I wouldn't have had a little bit of extra Lava Plume damage on me, so I'm absolutely fine with living that hit with 15. However, in comes Tangrowth, which obviously has Chlorophyll, and I figured that Dragonite's got one more good shot on it. It's got, you know, it's faster than some things, so it should be able to come in and at least hit maybe the Tangrowth when Sun's not up, or maybe Vaporeon. Who knows? I could hit a lot of things. He misses another Sleep Powder there, which he's missing that a lot. He's missed quite a few Sleep Powders, which, hey, that's part of the game. It doesn't really matter. Like, well, it does, because he takes 50% when he wasn't expecting to, but that's just what happened. I'm going to Roost up here because I honestly expected him to just fodder off the Tangrowth and go for, like, well, no, that's not true. I just went for Roost because, and I had really nothing better to do. I figured I may as well get myself back up to full HP. And he sets up a Wish as I go to Quagsire, I'm still expecting him to maybe... No, I don't. He doesn't have Ice Beam. But I just went to Quagsire because I figured I'd be able to scare him away. And I didn't actually expect him to pass a Wish to Tangrowth. I really should have, and in hindsight, it's really obvious that he was going to do that. And I should have went to, like, Dragonite so that he would be forced to take the Wish with Vaporeon. And, you know, I thought he'd just protect and that was it. But it doesn't happen. He gets my Quagsire to sleep, which is honestly who I wanted to sleep. That's why I stayed in when obvious grass move was obvious. Because even though I can't deal with Heatran now with it, I can obviously always Heal Bell, and that would be just fine. Which I'm going to try to do now, but he taunts me. I can't believe he had taunt the whole time. And I just had no idea. I went for a Dragon Pulse that turn, honestly just because I didn't think that he would do anything. I figured he'd go back to Tangrowth because he can't really hurt me with Heatran, but taunt really screws me over. However, because Quagsire is still asleep, it can't get burned during Lava Plume during that time, so I'm 100% completely free to just sit in here as he Lava Plumes me. He's got max speed, max HP pretty much, and I'm going to be able to take these hits all day long. He taunts me so I can't recover, but if I'm only taking 25%, I'm going to be able to finish this thing off at some point. I get the Waterfall off first because... you know, I actually haven't been Tormented yet, so I honestly expected Torment to come into play. So he's just got way too many turns that he has to set up before he can really deal any damage to me. So, Waterfall away the sub, and now it's either EQ time or it's Waterfall time. I decide, you know, EQ's going to be resisted by everything. Just kidding. I'm going to switch out to Azumarill. And here, I'm expecting him to switch into something to deal with me. I know Tangrowth didn't want to stick around because, you know... he doesn't want to get Ice Punched, and I just went for Focus Punch, hit the Vaporeon, gets wrecked by it. Did like, man, CB Focus Punch, unprotected, was awesome. So here, I knew he'd be forced to either Wish and potentially die, or definitely die if I'd stayed in, or try and surf me to break my focus and stuff like that. So no matter what happens, this stupid Vaporeon is dead. I knew he would protect, so I went for Yawn just to try and save an EQ, because I need to save them if I'm going to beat the Heatran up. And I went for EQ now, finished off the Vaporeon as it gets a wish up, so it's going to pass a wish to something. It's just a matter of which guy he's going to go to. Is it going to be Heatran, or is it going to be Tangrowth? In the end, he does decide to go to Tangrowth, which is the correct play, and I make a humongous blunder. I absolutely need this Quagsire to deal with his Heatran, and letting it die here to a power-up was so awful. I honestly thought maybe I'd be able to live it, get a Yawn off, and then I'd be able to go, but I really should not have risked it. Like, that Quagsire was so valuable to me, and now it's gone, which I can't believe I made that play, and now I've got to pay for it. So he gets his wish up, he's back at full, and in comes Altaria, so I honestly expected him to switch out here, go to Heatran, because Heatran's a much better thing to deal with Altaria, so I go to Tentacruel, but he doesn't do that. He Sleep Powders, it misses, which is very, very huge. It lets me knock off, and he goes for Power Whip here. I think he expected to KO because he had Life Orb, but without that Life Orb, I managed to live with 3 hit points, which is going to allow me to Toxic that thing, which is going to let me claw back into this thing, I think. I'm not too sure, but I'm going to give it my best go. Toxic lands, thankfully, didn't miss like the first time. And Power Whip hits, kills me, and it is go time. It's 2v2, I think, and he's got the advantage. So this time I go to Altaria, and this time I'm convinced he's going to switch, but he doesn't. He stays in. Hits my Azumarill Sleep Powder. I think Altaria might have been faster than Tangrowth and been able to Dragon Pulse, and then that would have screwed it over. But he didn't go with that. He went with a very clever play, but I don't think it was even the right play, because he should have Power Up there if he expected a Azumarill. But here is a very, very stally portion where it's just me trying to defeat this Heatran. I don't know how I'm going to kill it, because he can just torment away my my CB Azumarill before it does anything, and it's just not fun for me. So he's Lava Plumming me right now, which is doing a lot more than I expected it to. And here in for sub, he expected me to wake up that turn, because I think that was the last available turn of sleep. I think I'd been asleep for 4 or 5 turns, so he subbed, but I waterfalled, so he wastes that turn. He could have hit me with Lava Plume there, just remember that. So I go to Altaria now, which gets taunted, and of course I'm not going to fall for it again, so I Dragon Pulse. It doesn't break a sub. I think it's a 3-hit KO on his sub, and because of the Torment, I'm not going to be able to Dragon Pulse anymore either every other turn, so I decide, you know what, I'm just going to stay in struggle, break his sub, hopefully with it, and then it's going to be going out to Azumarill. Critical hit struggle, la la la. And I go to Azumarill. It's still CB, so it's like as soon as I get tormented, there's just not a lot I can do. Torment hits, it's not going to miss. I waterfall again because I thought maybe he'd sub again, make that mistake. It doesn't really matter what order I do things in, because I'm going to get tormented, and it doesn't really matter. So, and I'm CB, of course. So I go back to Altaria, which takes a Lava Plume, and he sets up another sub. I'm just essentially trying to whittle him down, because I think I could eventually whittle him down, but it's going to cost me my Azumarill, and right there I get burned. So that burn is pretty much going to completely hinder this Azumarill, so I'm forced to switch out, which I can't believe he swapped out too. So I think he's just trying to get something to sleep, which it misses again, and that one was huge. That lets me get my heal off, and that lets Azumarill, start hitting at full power again. And Altaria falls asleep, big deal, it's natural cure, and here he's expecting me to switch out into Azumarill, so he's trying to Power Whip it away, but that's not going to happen. I'm just going to let Altaria stay in here, take the hits. His second one misses, big deal, wouldn't have done that much. I roost up anyway, and I get the better end of that exchange. So, but at the end of the day, I still can't kill this Heatran. I'm still trying to figure out how am I going to be able to break his sub and then come in and Aqua Jet it. Pretty much my best bet is to sack Altaria, but he's not going to let me do that. He's not going to, he knows how many hits it takes for a sub to break. So unless I surprise crit sub break while he kills me, which is very, very unlikely, there's just not a lot I can do. So he gets the torment off, and here I'm just like, you know what, I'm sick of this stall. I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm going to struggle, lose a quarter HP, and then he can Lava Plume me next turn, and that'll be game. But I break his sub with struggle. Both of us sat there dumbfounded for about 5 solid minutes, and I couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was nuts. That lets me Aqua Jet him next turn, and that's the game. Surprise crit struggle, or not even a crit. Surprise struggle breaks the sub, and I couldn't believe it. His Lava Plumes definitely did more than 43 hit points, so even if he had Lava Plumed that turn instead of subbing, then he would have won. If he had Lava Plumed the turn when I Waterfalled, when he was expecting Aqua Jet, he would have won there in that case as well. So just a bunch of random moves kept my Azumarill at slightly higher hit points than it would have been, and it's... man, that really cost him the game, and it gave me the victory, so that was a really, really intense game. I can't believe it. I couldn't believe that I won, and that was exciting. So I want to thank you for watching. If you stuck around this long, I know it was a long one, and that was sped up a lot, so just imagine playing that over and over like 10 times because they kept DCing on us. But, you know, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my channel. I'm starting up a no Poke Center run of Gold, Silver, Crystal, 2nd generation, you know, that whole deal, where I'm like hardcore about it. I don't use any Poke Centers. I've already done it twice on Ruby and Blue, so come check it out. And I'll see you next time.